so good that I ran paradise on earth. I had one of the biggest casinos in Las Vegas to run for 10 years. You know, if I did it, I'd have to run it my way.
Nobody's going to interfere with you running the casino, I guarantee it. Vicky, you're a guy making a lot of money for us. So keep a good eye on it.
All right. Look at this place. It's made of money. What do you think about me moving out here?
I just gotta tell you, it's no joke out here. You gotta keep a low profile. Right off the bat, they don't like guys like us.
You like your money a lot,
Yes, a lot.
don't you? Well, how about that, yeah?
I settle down, I want a family.
You got the wrong girl.
You'll be set up for the rest of your life.
You don't know me. Or you know me 2-3 months.
They had it all. They ran the show. And it was paradise. While it lasted. They find a guy's head in the desert. That's no good. We got a problem.
He doesn't listen to me. Maybe she get lost for a while. Take a vacation.
Can't make it any clearer, Sam. I would just get out.
I try to do everything for you, even though I knew deep down inside you would bury me.
I buried you. You buried yourself.
I have to be able to trust you with my life. Can I trust you? Can I trust you?
I will go to the FBI. I will go to the police. I am not protecting you anymore.
You want me to get out of my own town? You only exist out here because of me.
He's a loose cannon.
No! Stop it!
You realize what you can do? You can get us all killed! You want to get rid of me? Here I am. Go ahead, get rid of me.
And welcome to a new episode of the Movie Dawgs Show here on the Movie Dawgs channel. Tonight we are going to be talking about the Martin Scorsese 1995 classic Casino. Joining me is Mr. Paul Bell. Paul, how you doing?
How's it going? I'm doing good.
Well, Paul, we're talking about Casino. One of my favorite films of all time. One of my favorite Martin Scorsese films of all time. And Paul, I know when it comes to Scorsese films, you're kind of a bit of a consumer of a little bit of Scorsese yourself.
Oh yeah. I mean, you can't say mob movie without Martin Scorsese being in the conversation.
Oh,
It's impossible. Man wrote the book on it. I mean, he's had numerous classics. Casino being one of his best, in my opinion. Killer cast, just great movie.
Exactly. I mean, Martin Scorsese, when you come down to it, Martin Scorsese is possibly, I mean, right there in the top 5 of all-time best directors in Hollywood in the last 40 to 50 years. You can put him aside, you know, Francis Ford Coppola, Alfred Hitchcock, Steven Spielberg. I mean, the list can go on, but, you know, when it comes to Martin Scorsese, and he's got a very diverse filmography. I mean, the guy, when it comes to Raging Bull, Taxi Driver, Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore, After Hours, King of Comedy, you know, for crying out loud, he did an animated film a few years back called Hugo, and I mean, The Gangs of New York, The Departed, which he finally got his deserving Oscar, And of course, the Irishman, where he reunited with Pesci and De Niro and Al Pacino. You know, I mean, the list can go on and on when it comes to this man's movies. I recommend every one of them. But we're going to talk about Casino. Casino is actually the first and only Martin Scorsese film I actually got to see in theaters. And I saw it with my cousin and his nephew, and I was blown away. I was an instant fan of this film. Bought it on VHS the moment. I had the poster back in the 90s. I mean, this was, you know, it was the same guy who wrote Casino, the book, wrote Goodfellas, and wrote the screenplay to Goodfellas as well. So that's why, you know, this movie was basically being made right as Goodfellas was being wrapped. So, I mean, it was a double hitter when it came to, and again, teaming with Pesci and De Niro, who, you know, Martin Scorsese, it's between De Niro or DiCaprio, and I can't wait for Scorsese to finally work with both De Niro and DiCaprio. So, but Paul, what was your first memories of this movie? When did you first see this?
First time I saw this movie, my mom had got it on VHS, and I can remember watching it over the back of the couch. I mean, just, it was so riveting, she didn't even know I was there, you know what I mean? It was just one of those movies that you were just drawn in, and from the second you were drawn in, it was over. Classic mob movie, I mean, start to finish, just a great film.
And again, you know, it shows up with Martin Scorsese's style of editing and how he paces a film and everything. This movie should be, I hope, somehow shown in film schools on you know, the best way to pace a film. Because this movie's what, about almost 3 hours, if not 3 hours long. And you don't know it. I mean, on VHS, when it was sold, it was a double cassette, just like The Godfather was, you know, and it just doesn't move like almost a 3 hour plus movie. It moves perfectly. It paces so well. The way the film was the cinematography was set was just absolutely beautiful, and it was just, everything was kind of like in a gold hue because it's from Las Vegas, and this was about the downfall of Las Vegas. This was at the end of its mystique and mystery before the bigger criminals, the corporate America, came in and took over all the casinos. But I have to say that, you know, this film is so beautifully shot, and the cast, I mean, you want to talk about a great cast that accompanies De Niro and Pesci. Sharon Stone. This was Sharon Stone at her best. I mean, she's had some flops here and there, and she's had some great moments in her acting career, withstanding, you know, Basic Instinct due to the numerous scenes that we're not going to mention right now. But Sharon Stone got an Oscar nomination for this film for Best Supporting Actress, which she should have gotten Best Actress, you know. And then also you had James Woods, who plays a sleaze better than anybody in the world in entertainment. Don Rickles is in there. He has hardly anything to say but his presence. It's Don Rickles.
Don Rickles, I mean, you can't have an old Vegas scene without Don Rickles.
Exactly.
He was there in the thick of it when it was all going on, him and Bob Newhart. I mean, if you ever look them up and listen to them talking about the old days in Vegas, when the mob were in Vegas, I mean, it's very interesting to hear, and I felt like the movie kept very close to, you know, the authenticity of what they talked about.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Kevin Pollak, you know, stand-up comedian Kevin Pollak, he was really big stand-up in the 90s. He was in this movie doing a very serious role, and you had, you know, God, who else was in this movie? Alan King, another great stand-up comedian of his time, who was in the thick of things in Las Vegas as well, back in the 1940s and 1950s and 60s, you know. And heck, you even had one of the Smothers brothers in the movie playing a crooked official. So I mean, again, the book based on a book by Nicholas Plagley or Plago, I believe I can't pronounce his name, but Nicholas Plagley, I believe. But again, him and Scorsese just knocked it out of the park with Casino. There's so many memorable scenes in this film, left and right. My favorite scene in this whole film is where Joe Pesci's character is, this woman is trying to sue the casino and the head of the casino, and they brought Nicky Santero, who's played by Pesci, in to be the settlement case holder, and he just casually walks into the woman's kitchen and pops a couple lead into her forehead and everything, and kind of tilts her head over a little bit. And I can remember my cousin who was sitting by me at the time, the look that he gave me, looking over at me and everything, and disbelief of what he just saw on the big screen was priceless, absolutely priceless. But I mean, what?
I don't know. It's hard to top the scene where he went to Sam Rothstein, Robert De Niro's character's aide, when the guy told him about his pen, told him to, screw off.
Yeah.
And Pesci returned his pen in very mob-like way.
I know. I remember people laughing during that scene, and I'm thinking, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen in theaters. I mean, I had seen Goodfellas before, and this was just, this was Goodfellas in X Games forms, I mean,
it was to the next level. It was very well done. It would have been nice if they would put Ray Liotta in there. I would like to have seen that somewhere. That would have been interesting.
I don't think there was enough cocaine in Las Vegas to help Ray Liotta.
Yeah, probably not.
But
I think that would have only enhanced the cast. He did so well paired with Joe Pesci and Robert De Niro and Goodfellas. I think seeing him carry over to Casino would have brought it to the next level. I mean, it was already just a great film, and had an amazing cast. But I really think that would have kicked it up a little bit.
I think he could have played the James Wood character.
I could have seen that very easily, yeah.
But I mean, I'll tell you one thing though. The soundtrack to this film was so unique. Scorsese has a way with soundtracks, kind of like how Quentin Tarantino is with his. He'll take a lot of old songs that may not even match that era, or that could be like 10 years before that the movie's depicted, or 10 years after, and just place it very well into the that scene. Like it's just you have the Rolling Stones in there, and that really hasn't much to do with gangsters or anything like that, but he's got the Rolling Stones song, Give Me Shelter, in it. He's got a lot of blues songs. Robbie Robinson, who was part of the group, the band, he does a lot of Scorsese soundtracks, and he kind of is a supervisor of the music scores. I mean, he can find anything that's just that he doesn't even have to compose, and I don't even think Casino had an actual score. I think they what that music I played earlier was from the Chicago Symphony Orchestra. It's called Malachi's Passion. That's from Bach. It's just those little things that can really make a movie. A soundtrack can make a film, and editing. But just for some reason, Scorsese can deliver it in spades, especially when it comes to, in The Departed. They used the Pink Floyd song in The Departed, and that was just, and I always loved that one Pink Floyd song, but for some reason in the movie it amplified its presence even more, But
yeah, the music to it really, gave it a little something. It's like you said, it didn't exactly have to be in that era for it to work, but overall, every scene was great.
Yeah.
The music went along with everything very well.
Yeah.
Nothing was out of place in the movie.
No.
It had a continuous flow. The music was great. It had a riveting story. Just the way the actors portrayed their characters was well thought out, well played. You know, just the direction of the whole film was done very well. I was very impressed by it, and it's one of the first mob movies I saw. And since seeing Casino, it has just, it's carried all the way through The Irishman. I mean, I love the Martin Scorsese mob films. They've always been one of my favorites. You know, just great viewing.
Yeah, and, you know, this, I'll tell you one thing about this when it comes down to it. This was based on a true story. There was the character of Robert De Niro was, I think his name was, instead of, you know, Ace, in real life the guy's name was Lucky, his nickname, and then Nicky Santoro was based off of another character. I mean, these were real people. Of course, the names were changed for the book and the movie purposes, but, you know, the guy who the movie was based off of, he had no interest in this whatsoever until he found out De Niro was playing him, and he's like, oh yeah, of course, you know, I'll be a part of this if De Niro's going to be me. I mean, if you ever rent or you ever buy Casino on DVD, check out the special features. You'll get a full-blown history on the entire history of Las Vegas and the mob, and also the actual events that inspired this film, Casino. But, I mean, Paul, I mean, what was more of your favorite moments in this film? I mean, name a few off and everything that were just, you know.
There are so many scenes that are just. There's when Sam Rothstein catches the two guys that are trying to rob the casino through hooking blackjack. They're doing a scam there. That was a great scene, and then from hearing Don Rickles and Bob Newhart talk about, you can see that as a very authentic theme.
Yeah.
To the Casino movie, as well as, you know, following back to that time frame. So many great scenes in that movie. It's hard to pick one.
Yeah.
You really enjoy the characters. I mean, it's hard to get past, like, James Woods and Robert De Niro's character when they come to that confrontation.
Yeah.
You know, Robert De Niro and Joe Pesci, their characters, how they come together and how they eventually, you know, part.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's all just. If I had to pick a favorite scene, I would say it's the whole movie. I mean, the whole storyline, it just goes so seamlessly together that it's just very well done, and it's a great movie from start to finish.
And what really complements this film is that the narration. You're not getting one. You get two narrations. You get the viewpoint narration of De Niro's character and Pesci's character. And then off of somewhere, you get Nicky Samburo's, left-hand man. I can't remember his name for the life of me.
Frankie.
Yeah, Frankie. There for an instant when he's asked about Sharon Stone and Pesci's characters, if they're, fooling around. The film pauses, and then he throws in his narration. He's like, what can I do? I had to lie to him. If it happened to find out that, they were messing around, it can kill us all, and that was a break from the film, and that was such, it broke the tension at that scene when he was asked, and it kind of made you, like, giggle a little bit, too, because suddenly this guy who's just a side character, he's a supporting character, he's talking to us. He's breaking the fourth wall, and that's my favorite. That's really my favorite part of the film is the narration. And sometimes the narrations can break into, De Niro's talking, and then suddenly about a subject, and then suddenly, Pesci's voice is breaking in to finish the conversation about the certain subject. When they're talking about the cash room, and Pesci breaks in and goes, "They got so much freaking money in there that you couldn't count it," And then complaining about the guy who's, it's the jack off that's stealing the money and everything, and God forbid the other guys, don't forget to steal themselves. It's just my horrible Pesci impersonation. Sorry, folks. But it just, the narration, I really think that if that narration wasn't in there, the movie wouldn't have worked at all.
It helped with the flow. It helped explain some of the scenes without being overly self-explanatory. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It kind of gave people an insight into what was going on through the point of view of somebody that was involved in it. I felt like it was very well put together so that you could better understand what they're talking about and understand the overall scheme of what was going on and what they were doing.
Yeah. I mean, and it, you know, when it comes to the mindless dialogue, you know, the small talk dialogue, which only works in certain films, but when I think the director knows that scene, it looks good, but I can't take it out, but the dialogue is just, you know, too long or it just doesn't work. That's where I think they decided to put in the narrations, and I think that's one of the reasons why Scorsese decided to do that. And again, you know, as you said, it moved the film, it moved the narrative. But I'll have to say, I'm going to go back to Sharon Stone. She held her own against two heavyweight actors of De Niro and Pesci level. And she held it to a T, man. I can never get over. I think that was another thing that made this film work, was Sharon Stone's performance. I mean, I don't know about you. What you think, bro?
I mean, she did a great performance. She was very pivotal to the plot point. I think she kind of represented the corruption that Vegas could have, and in ways still has over people.
Mm-hmm.
Just the way her character is introduced in the movie.
She was a hustler.
Seeing her all the way through the transformation that she undergoes.
Yeah.
From becoming, you know, a Las Vegas hooker to being a kept housewife, but she's still got her pimp, and at the same time she's got, you know, her husband telling her there's no more. She's done with that life.
Yeah.
And just seeing the turmoil and the trials that she had to face, and I thought that was very well portrayed by Sharon Stone.
I think the best way to describe it is like you have this wild animal that got locked up to put it on and as a display, and she's cooped up and everything, and it just boils over. And you know, most animals, you know, if they finally break free, they flip out, you know, or they flip out at the zookeepers, you know. I know it's not the best way to analyze it, but that's how I felt when it came to Sharon Stone's character in this film. You know, she wasn't meant for that life. She only knew one life because she was kind of forced into it, and she survived on instinct. So, you know, and that's understandable for some people. You know, that's understandable how some people, you know, are. They are the reflection of their upbringing or their survivals, you know. I mean, we all have that in a way, you know. I don't think to that degree, but you know, I can relate to how, you know, the character would be, you know. But then, of course, at the end, it destroyed her, you know. But
well, you know, I think, like I said, I think just she was very pivotal in explaining the fact that, you know, when they went out there, they were all kind of bright-eyed, just kind of thinking they had the world by the tail. You know, they were going to pull it back, make it their own. But just the different walks of life, the different ways they were, you know, in the story, how they moved that story, and the way that everything there affected them. Not just, you know, the money, not just the power, not just the people, but the overall situation of how things went.
yeah. I also have to say, though, another thing when it comes to the cameo, Scorsese put his mom in this film again. The same woman that played Pesci's mom in Goodfellas. And just, you know, it was just a small part and everything, but she was the woman at the cash register in the old grocery store in Kansas City, where the one guy's, you know, complaining and everything about, like, how he can't go into his own casino or anything like that, or go in there and, you know, check on the money, or how they're letting other people steal from them and everything, or pocket the money and everything to help them, and, you know, and he's like going crazy and everything, and she's just like, you know, shrugging and everything because he's cussing up a storm, and she's like, I know, but you need to watch your mouth, you know. And this little old Italian lady and everything, you know, you feel the presence. You know, she wasn't an actress or anything like that, or professional actor, but that woman had a presence and everything. You can tell that, you know, Mama Scorsese laid the gauntlet down on little Marty and everything back in the day, you know.
Yeah, I mean, she was very authentic. I felt like she really helped sell where they were at. You know, I mean, it's an Italian family, and it was like a little gas station shop. I mean, it wasn't nothing big. It was like a small little in-between grocery store.
Yeah.
And just the feel of that, the way that, you know, the Italian families of that time were very mom and pop, you know, that kind of thing, family-run businesses. I mean, I thought it just helped sell the whole thing along.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's those small scenes that also help the movie too.
Mob family kind of deal, that kind of mentality.
Yeah, I mean, and I'll tell you what, when it comes towards the climax, when the bosses were all going up, you know, on trial and everything, and of